Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're digging into something a bit different.
Yeah.
It's Money Master the Game by Tony Robbins. Now, he's known for psychology, right? Transformation coaching.
Exactly. Not your typical finance guru.
But here he is, sitting down with like 50 financial giants. I think Warren Buffett, Ray Dalio, Carl Icahn even.
Yeah, the heaviest hitters. And he managed to pull out 7 steps from all their sometimes conflicting advice.
Logical steps, too, not some get-rich-quick thing. It's about finding where these titans actually agree.
Which is incredible, really. Robbins, the behavior guy, cuts through all that Wall Street jargon.
And gets to the fundamental rules.
Yeah, the universals for building wealth long term. It's less about complex strategies and more about mastering basics.
Okay, so our mission today, for you listening, is simple. You asked for the shortcut to financial literacy from these sources.
So we're pulling out the absolute must-do advice.
We'll busting those myths that hold people back, big ones.
Oh.
And yes, we are going to give you that specific investment allocation, the Ray Dalio all-weather secret.
Think of it as like the operating system for your financial life. Foundational stuff.
Stuff that helps you ride out the market ups and downs.
Exactly. Avoid the psychological traps. Build real, sustainable wealth. That's the goal.
All right, let's jump in. Step 1, making the decision. The big one.
It sounds simple, but the sources really hammer this home. Financial freedom needs a conscious choice. You can't just drift into it.
If you let things slide, your money ends up controlling you.
That's it. And the first hurdle isn't usually lack of money. It's that scarcity mindset.
Excuses. Oh, it's easy for them because...
Right. That refusal to take ownership. That's the first trap. So the core message is stark. Take control of your money or it will take control of you. No middle ground.
And the number one action for taking control right out of the gate.
Automation. Got to be automation.
Setting up automatic savings and investing. Today. Not tomorrow.
It has to be. Because it removes the biggest enemy, your own emotions.
If the money never lands in your checking account.
You literally can't spend it on impulse. It immediately puts compound interest, that eighth wonder of the world, to work for you.
But Robbins points out why people delay, right? The pain of saving now feels real.
Giving up that coffee, that dinner out, it's immediate.
While the payoff, financial security, feels like it's decades away.
So you have to consciously choose. Discipline now or regret later. That's the trade.
Which flows right into step 2. Become the insider. Knowledge is power.
Absolutely. It's about education and controlling those emotions. You hear that story about Warren Buffett all the time.
Reading 5 or 6 hours a day.
Yeah, just constantly learning. That knowledge stops you from panicking when markets drop or getting greedy when they soar.
And crucially, it stops you falling for the myths the industry sometimes pushes.
Oh, the myths are huge. Most people operate under like 3 massive misunderstandings.
Let's hit that first one. This one genuinely shocked me when I first read it. The idea that you can beat the market.
Yeah, the data Robbins presents is just brutal. 96% of actively managed mutual funds fail to beat the market over any decent stretch, like 10 years.
Wait, say that again? 96%.
96%? Think about that. These are highly paid professionals, full-time job, trying to pick winners.
And 96% of them can't beat a simple, cheap index fund that just tracks the market.
It begs the question, why do people pay them those high fees?
Which leads straight to myth number 2. Fees don't matter that much. They're small percentages.
The small percentages kill you. The average total fee Robbins found for these managed funds was 3.17% a year.
Okay, 3.17% sounds small.
But compound interest works both ways. That fee compounds against you year after year.
Yeah.
Over 30 years, it can easily eat up half your potential nest egg.
Half? Wow, that's the silent killer then.
Totally. And it's why almost everyone Robbins interviewed, Dalio, Bogle, you name it, pushes low-cost index funds or ETFs, cut the fees, track the market. Simple.
Okay, myth 3. This is the one people often ignore until disaster strikes. Believing that avoiding losses isn't as important as making big gains.
This is fundamental. Robbins drills down on this. Preserving your capital is mathematically more critical than chasing high returns.
Explain the math on that again, the loss recovery.
Okay, say you start with $100. You lose 50%. Now you have $50.
Right.
To get back to your original $100, you don't just need a 50% gain on that $50. You need a 100% gain.
Ah, okay. Because 50% of $50 is only $25. You need $50 more.
Exactly. Recovering from big losses is incredibly hard, psychologically and financially. Protecting the downside is how you get wealthy, slowly but surely.
And since trust is key here, the sources also flag that issue with brokers. The potential conflict of interest.
Yeah, the fiduciary duty question. Is the broker acting in your best interest or the best interest of their company that pays them commissions?
So for U.S. listeners specifically, the advice is pretty strong.
Find a registered investment advisor, an RIA. They have a legal fiduciary duty to put your interests first.
Got it. That's a good point. While the psychology and math are universal, a lot of the specifics on, say, retirement accounts or taxes.
It's very U.S. focused, so if you're listening elsewhere, you need to take the concepts, controlling fees, diversification, fiduciary duty, and apply them within your own country's rules and systems.
Right. Adapt the principles. Okay, so we've got the mindset, the need for knowledge, avoiding the traps. Let's move to step 3, making the game winnable, or the price of your dreams.
This is classic Robbins, right? Getting crystal clear on your goals. Money's just a tool. What are you building with it?
If you don't know why you're saving, you won't stick with it when things get tough.
Exactly. So it boils down to 2 key numbers you need to figure out.
1, what's the monthly cost of your basic life right now? Rent, food, transport, the essentials.
And 2, what's the cost of your dream life? The ideal future, maybe travel, hobbies, nicer things.
Once you have those numbers, Robbins lays out this 5-level roadmap. It makes the huge goal of getting rich feel more achievable.
Yeah, it breaks it down. Level 1 is financial security. This is where your investments generate enough income to cover about half your basic costs, say, your housing and food.
Half doesn't sound like much at first.
But think about the freedom. If half your rent is paid by investments, maybe you can afford to take a job you actually like, even if it pays a bit less. That's huge leverage.
Okay, that makes sense. But the real target for most people should probably be level 3.
Level 3, financial independence. That's the big one. Your investment income now covers all your basic living costs: housing, food, transport, insurance.
Meaning, you never have to work again.
Unless you choose to. Work becomes optional. That's genuine freedom for most people.
And then there's level 5.
Absolute financial freedom. Yeah, the private jets, the island, whatever you want. It's possible, but maybe not the first goal.
The point is to have a target. Calculate the lump sum you need to generate that income.
And then take, as Robbins says, massive and effective action. To get there, earn more, spend less, be tax smart.
But that sounds like a lot of sacrifice. Living like a monk today for a maybe future.
That's the critical balance Robbins stresses. You have to enjoy the journey. Tomorrow isn't promised.
So don't just hoard everything.
No. The successful approach involves aggressive saving and finding joy today. Be intentional with the money you do spend. Make it count.
All right, let's get into the strategy. Step 4, make the most important investment decision of your life, which boils down to
Diversification and asset allocation. This is where people often overcomplicate things massively.
So the main buckets, the asset classes are
Generally, you're looking at 4: equities, which are stocks owning a piece of a company, property or real estate; fixed interest securities, which are bonds basically lending money; and cash or cash equivalents.
And you need a mix. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. Diversification is non-negotiable. And the mix the asset allocation needs to match your personal comfort with risk. The idea is that when one thing zigs, another zags, smoothing out the ride.
And there's a technique within that allocation to help manage emotions. Dollar cost averaging.
Yes. Dollar cost averaging or pound cost averaging, depending where you are. It's simple but powerful.
It means investing a fixed amount regularly, like every month.
Yep. Say $500 every month, rain or shine. When the market's high, your $500 buys fewer shares. When the market dips, that same $500 buys more shares.
Ah, so it forces you to buy low automatically.
Precisely. It removes the temptation to try and time the market, which almost nobody can do well consistently. It enforces discipline.
Okay, now for the part people often buzz about. Step 5, create a lifetime income plan, or upside without the downside. This is heavily influenced by Ray Dalio.
Right. The founder of Bridgewater Associates, one of the world's biggest hedge funds. His whole philosophy was about building portfolios that could survive, even thrive, in any economic weather.
His famous all-weather fund, aimed for safety, low volatility.
And still managed around 10% average annual returns for decades, which is remarkable given the focus on safety.
His idea wasn't predicting the future, but being ready for anything.
Exactly. Ready for the 4 economic seasons: rising growth, rising inflation, falling inflation, deflation. Structure the portfolio so something does well whatever the weather.
And this is where Robbins got Dalio to share something huge.
For the first time ever, yeah. Dalio gave his suggested allocation for an all-weather portfolio that an average person could implement for safety and consistency.
Okay, let's hear it. The specific breakdown.
All right, remember this is his suggestion, tailored for stability. It's 40% in long-term U.S. bonds. They tend to do well when growth slows or in deflation.
40%, okay.
Then 30% in stocks for when the economy is growing.
Got it. Stocks for growth.
15% in intermediate-term U.S. bonds. A bit less sensitive to interest rate changes than long-term ones.
Okay, 15% intermediate bonds.
And then the inflation hedges. 7.5% in gold and 7.5% in commodities.
Gold and commodities equal split. Why are they so important?
Because they tend to do well when inflation picks up, which can hurt both stocks and bonds sometimes. They provide that balance.
And when they tested this mix historically?
It showed much less volatility, especially during big crashes like 2008, compared to a typical 60% stock, 40% bond portfolio. It protects against those devastating down years.
Which, as we said earlier, avoiding big losses is key.
Absolutely critical for long-term compounding. Now, the huge caveat here.
Past performance is no guarantee of future results.
Exactly. This worked well historically, but the future might be different. It's a model, a starting point. And critically, if you use it, you must rebalance regularly.
Okay, unpack rebalancing. What does that actually mean day to day or maybe year to year?
Rebalancing is just resetting the scales. Let's say stocks have a great year and your 30% stock allocation grows to, say, 40% of your portfolio.
Right, it's overweight now.
So you'd sell off that extra 10% of stocks selling high, locking in some gains, and reinvest that money into the parts that are now underweight, maybe the bonds or commodities, bringing everything back to the original 40, 30, 15, 7.5, 7.5 targets.
So it forces you to sell winners and buy losers.
Yeah.
Systematically.
Yes. Takes emotion out, it maintains your intended risk level, and forces that buy low, sell high discipline without you having to guess. Maybe once a year or when things get significantly out of whack.
Makes sense. And one more technical thing from this section for retirement income. They mentioned something other than just bonds or CDs.
Yeah. Fixed indexed annuities, FIAs, they're complex insurance products, not for everyone, and you need to understand them fully.
But the idea is
They offer a minimum guaranteed return, protecting your principal, but also allow some potential upside linked to a market index, usually up to a certain cap. It fits the theme, protect the downside, capture some upside, but again, complex, need advice.
Okay, almost there. Step 6. Invest like the 0.001%. This sounds aspirational.
It's about modeling success. Robbins' core idea. Success leaves clues. He talked to Icahn, Bogle, Swenson, all these legends.
Not so we can become billionaires overnight.
Probably not. It's about understanding their thinking. Why do they allocate capital like they do? How do they handle market panic? How do they view risk?
So you absorb their principles.
And build your own practices that fit your life, your goals, your risk tolerance. Learn from the best to build your foundation.
And finally, step 7, which brings it all home. Just do it, enjoy it, and share it.
All the knowledge in the world is useless without action. This brings back the why we talked about earlier, your purpose. Simon Sinek's idea.
The book really shifts here, back to life philosophy. Money isn't the goal itself.
It's an enabler, and it only really contributes to happiness if you use it wisely. The science is pretty clear on this.
Spending on experiences beats spending on stuff.
Overwhelmingly. Travel, learning, shared activities that creates lasting happiness. Material things. The buzz wears off quickly.
And the biggest thing money buys isn't a fancy car.
It's time. The freedom to choose how you spend your days. Buying back time from commuting, from soul-crushing work, that's invaluable.
And then there's the sharing part. Contribution.
Yeah, another scientifically backed point. Spending money on others, whether charity or just treating a friend, consistently makes people happier than spending it on themselves.
So financial freedom ultimately enables growth and contribution.
That's the higher purpose presented. Robbins wraps it up saying, life's biggest decisions, what you focus on, what things mean to you, what you do, are all amplified by money. Freedom gives you the power to make those choices fully.
So wrapping this all up, what's the verdict on these sources, on Money Master the Game?
It's a really solid, comprehensive financial boot camp. It's built on clear, basic defensive rules.
Mindset, automation, long-term view, diversification, keeping fees low.
Exactly. No magic bullets, no crazy risky techniques, just the fundamentals, explained well.
But we have to mention the main critique, right?
Yeah. While the core ideas are sound, the whole long-term strategy, especially relying on index funds always eventually going up, It rests on that assumption.
That on a long enough timeline, markets always rise.
And that's where someone like Nassim Taleb, the Black Swan author, throws in a dose of reality. He warns that all these books assume that, but history shows markets can go sideways for decades.
And his rather dark punchline.
On a long enough timeline, we're all dead. Meaning your timeline might not be long enough for the always goes up theory to bail you out if you hit a long stagnation.
Okay, so that leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener. Something provocative.
Given those 5 levels of financial success from just covering half your basics up to absolute freedom.
What's the minimum level you need? Not just for some far-off retirement, but the level that would dramatically improve your life quality right now.
Maybe the deepest insight here isn't about getting astronomically rich. Maybe it's realizing you don't need level 5 to feel free. Defining your achievable level of freedom, maybe level 2 or 3, and aiming for that today. That might be the real game changer.